welcome back into Cherry Picking, week 6 of the fantasy hockey season. I hope you guys are enjoying it this season so far. Hope your teams are doing well. Before we get into today's video, I did want to mention Maryland Online Sports Betting is actually launching next week. If you play fantasy hockey or if you play fantasy sports, there's a good chance that you're betting as well. So I wanted to bring these offers to you guys before, especially for Maryland. All the links will be in the description below, but you can sign up before online sports betting launches in the old Lion State and get $200 in free bonus cash at certain sports books and even more offers. So be sure to check those out. The description and the link will be in the description below, And then even if not, even if you're in a legal betting state right now, there are definitely other sports books that you can sign up for right now and claim these awesome welcome offers. So as I mentioned, those will all be in the description below. But let's get into today's video. A little bit of a different show today. I'm going to be going through 8 players that are currently ranked in the top 50 of the fantasy hockey rankings according to Yahoo scoring. And I'm going to tell you whether you should keep these guys in your squad or sell high. I don't want to say necessarily buy low because they are in the top 50, so obviously hard to buy low on these guys. But let's get into it with the first player, and that's Jason Robertson. He's the 4th ranked fantasy hockey player according to Yahoo scoring right now. And in terms of left wingers, he's the 1st. So this is an obvious keep for me. The line that he's currently playing on dominated last year. Pavelski, Hintz, and himself, Jason Robertson, were one of the best lines in hockey last year. And again, this season have still been able to produce at a very high level. They have an expected goals percentage of 66%, which is 3rd best in the NHL among lines that have played over 100 minutes together. That's awesome to see. Jason Robertson, obviously a huge beneficiary of that. This guy is also 3rd in the NHL in goals with a 17% shooting percentage. That's very solid number, a number that is very sustainable. And that's also lowest on his line right now. Pavelski and Hintz are up 18%. Pavelski's up to almost 24%. So if there's one guy that won't regress, it's going to be Jason Robertson. So keep this kid. He is a stud. All right, the next guy we're going to be looking at is Bo Horvat. He's currently the 12th ranked fantasy hockey player according to Yahoo scoring and in 5th in terms of centers. That's pretty good. There's a lot of centers that people will draft usually every year. And being 5th already so far this season after being ranked well down in the rankings is very substantial and good for Bo Horvat. But he's a guy that I'm going to be selling on. He's been great, don't get me wrong, but this Canucks team, it's hard to buy into them right now with how everything's going. They're definitely headed in the wrong direction. And looking at his numbers, he's been insanely efficient, and that's great if you have him right now. But is that sustainable? I'm not really sure. His shooting percentage right now is hovering around 22, which is very high. That is also particularly high for on a line that's 66th in the NHL in expected goals for per 60 this season. Horvat had a season high in goals last year with 31. It looks like he'll probably break that, but I am expecting a massive slump at some point for this guy, so might as well offload him now. And I think it's definitely realistic to think that you can get guys like maybe Jack Hughes right now, who had a slower start, definitely starting to pick it up a little bit. Stammer, if you really want to try to fleece someone. And then Patrice Bergeron, I think, is a great guy because he's a stat sheet stuffer. And in bangers leagues and everything else, he does it all. So try and trade Bo Horvat right now before he starts to slump. All right, next guy, Erik Karlsson. The 9th ranked fantasy hockey player so far this season. Someone I definitely didn't expect to be this high on the board at any point in the season, to be honest. He's 2nd in terms of defensemen, only behind Rasmus Dahlin. This guy sells so high on Erik Karlsson. Honestly, fuck this guy. I refuse to believe that he's back. He's a fraud. He has 10 goals right now, but he hasn't scored in 5 games. And his expected goals per 60 minutes is 0.32. That's 14th on the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks team that doesn't produce a lot of scoring chances in general. The assists will definitely be there. Don't get me wrong. He does have a solid number of assists right now even, but there's defensemen out there that have slow starts, even guys that have good starts that I bet you people still aren't really buying into right now. One of those guys being Hampus Lindholm. Bruins are way more competitive. Lindholm has more hits, blocks, and his plus minus is substantially better than Erik Karlsson's right now. Don't get sucked into the Karlsson trap. Try to trade him right now. All right, the next guy being Mikko Rantanen, and he's ranked 7th right now in the fantasy hockey standings, 2nd among right wingers. He's had a great year to start the year. 14 goals, don't get me wrong, is awesome, but sell Mikko Rantanen in my opinion. 24% shooting percentage is very, very high, especially on a team where it's hard to be the sole owner of the market share of the shot volume, and it's being shown right now. If you look, he's 3rd in shot attempts behind Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon. He does score at a higher rate than Nathan MacKinnon, but still, if he's not getting the shot opportunities later on in the season and his shooting volume goes down, that's definitely not good to have on your team. Nichushkin is also hurt right now. He's coming back in a couple weeks. Rantanen has really stepped up his game since he's been absent. He has 7 goals in his last 5 games. All those games Nichushkin has not played in. I would go after someone like Mika Zibanejad, Kaprizov, even Cale Makar if you need a defenseman right now for Rantanen. And I definitely think those are trade candidates right now for Rantanen. All right, next up, the guy we're going to be looking at is Tage Thompson, 11th right now in fantasy hockey standings according to Yahoo Scoring, third among right wingers, right below Mikko Rantanen. I actually think I have somewhat of a man crush on Tage Thompson. First of all, his name's electric. The alliteration just works perfectly with the Tage and the Thompson. I love how this kid plays. He throws the big body around. He has a wicked shot and a sick one-timer. He's just an all-time player, and he's producing at an elite level right now. 11 goals, 10 assists so far this year, 4 power play goals. You absolutely love to see his usage on the power play as well. He's 8th in the NHL in shot attempts with 123. He's the main focal point of this Buffalo offense. His expected goals for per 60 is 1.73, which leads his team and is 9th in the NHL. Keep this goated right winger on your team for sure. All right, next guy we're going to be talking about, John Tavares. He's ranked 33rd right now amongst fantasy hockey players, according to Yahoo Scoring, 16th among centers. Honestly, I've been very surprised with how John Tavares has started this season. He's off to one of his hottest starts to date. I don't really see his numbers wavering that much either. He has the highest expected goals in the NHL so far. Out of all forwards, he's higher than Chris Kreider, Steven Stamkos, and Matt Tkachuk, who are all in the top 5 as well, and all score at a very high rate. It's shocking to see he has a higher expected goals rate than Austin Matthews, who's generally getting all the scoring chances on this Toronto team. But Tavares has an expected goals for per 60 at 2.18. He's one of the few players in the NHL that has that number above 2. That's wild. His shooting percentage is only 16 as well, which isn't even the highest we've seen in his career either. We've seen him get up to 18%, which is a very solid shooting percentage and something that's sustainable. And I could see him getting up to that number this year with his shot volume and how he's playing so far. Tavares is currently at 9 goals right now. I see him getting over 40. I think he can get 40 just like one of his first seasons with the Toronto Maple Leafs back in 2018, where he had 48 goals. All right, another defenseman to look at on this list, Dougie Hamilton, 33rd out of 50 so far this year, 6th among defensemen. Dougie Hamilton is an absolute keep. He's performing at a level that he should be performing at after missing almost half the year, I would say. I think he played just under 60 games last year. Dougie is back in full form here. Him and Siegenthaler have honestly been probably one of the best duos, defensive duos in the NHL so far this year. They allow little to no scoring chances, and they have an expected goals for per 60 of 3.8, which is awesome for a defensive duo. He's first in his team in shot attempts. He's second in shots on goal, and is on the ice all the time with a possible share of ice time of almost 36%. The Devils have the best expected goals for per 60 or for 60 against at a very low number so far this year. His plus minus will continue to increase as this Devils team continues to slaughter the rest of the NHL. 10-game winning streak right now. This team's completely off the charts. I think we will see Dougie Hamilton eclipse the 50-point mark for the first time in his career. We've seen him get 50, but I think he goes way above that. We can even maybe see him get up to 60, so definitely keep Dougie Hamilton on your team. All right, the last guy we're going to be talking about, he snuck just inside the top 50, and that's Martin Necas. He's 47th right now on that list, and he's 7th among right wingers, actually. So right wingers right now, the depth isn't really there, you'd say. I definitely do like this kid, but I think he's in a good spot to sell right now. He has 7 goals, 12 assists, and 19 points in 16 games this year, but he has just 2 points in his last 5 games, both of those being assists. And to be honest, this Necas, Kotkaniemi, Svechnikov line has honestly produced at one of the worst out of the 3 top lines so far on this Carolina team. I say that because their expected goals for per 60 is 2.48, which is 60th in the NHL. But Svechnikov is the one scoring all the goals. And it's very evident he's definitely the most offensively skilled on this line, and the scoring opportunities will continue to go towards him. Also, don't forget, Mats Pacioretty is on this Carolina team. I know you might have forgotten that. He is on LTIR right now. He did undergo surgery back in August and should be back in 2023, hopefully, is what they're saying. But still, that is something that a lot of people will probably forget. So if you're trying to trade this guy away, that's definitely a selling point to remember. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you liked this style of video. I'm happy to do it again in the future. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Join the Discord as well. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have of other players that maybe are not in the top 50. And I'll see you guys on the next show.